Back, Rami, straight away, why MLAs are not working together in Manipur? No joint delegations.
So, I'll have to take this. Can you still hear me, Karthikeyan?
Yes, yes.
All right, great. So, Karthikeya, I think there are only obvious answers to this. The obvious answers are that there's been such a divide, ethnic divide between the communities that all the representatives are sort of hesitant to come out and take a neutral call. Somebody like Nishikanji can, has done so, and he's done so because he's also an independent MLA. But I think, if we were to look at this rationally, nobody really wants to come out and take a call and take a side or give a rational voice. And this is very sad because at the end of the day, this is what you elect representatives for, not just to represent communities but to represent the welfare of the state, which is not happening. More than that, I don't know who is making the efforts, to do so. Is there local leadership? Um, are there, local group representatives that are coming out and saying that we want representation from both sides of the communities, all sides of the communities? It's not just any longer about Meiteis or Kukis, but also Nagas, also other communities that reside in Manipur, So are people coming together and saying, no, we need our representatives to come under one umbrella and represent us, and at least put a representation to the powers that be that a solution needs to come sooner than later. I don't think that's happening. This is why I've been saying this from the very beginning, that local leadership, organizational leaderships, all these people are going to play a great role, because if they don't bring these communities together and they don't sort of put pressure on representation to have some sort of a joint voice. I'm not saying that all issues need to be sorted out at this point. They're not going to be sorted out. I don't think they have been sorted out before. Historically, there's been a stalemate. I think there's a long time coming to come to some consensus on all these different issues now that have cropped up. But at least one can come on a platform, a common platform, and say that all we demand is some sort of rule of law and peace for the state. Now, to do that, I think the future looks very bleak. And, this is, I think, the most simplistic reason that I can see.
You are saying the future looks very bleak. Ramananji, do you agree? The future looks bleak?
Yeah, absolutely. Till the strong and very meaningful and well-intended thoughts and ideas to be placed, it seems to be a never-ending situation now. The government has to focus on the political, consolidation, political neutrality. That means all party should come together. This is the now the huge problems in Manipur. Not only huge problem in Manipur, is the whole country is watching it. So one has to take a very, very neutral and very, concrete, kind of stand, so that the things can be solved a very meaningful way. Otherwise, you can see the fallout of this conflict. The two communities may not be, trust each other in the future, and they will bring in a normality, include the rehabilitations of these affected people in the both in the plain in the hill. So without taking those concrete steps, you can't think about peace and the normality in the state. It's simply saying peace and normality is not enough. You have to act on it, and therefore the ruling party has to take very seriously and try to bring all parties together, so that the concrete step can be taken, all thought can be shared, the steps can be initiated, and even a dialogue can be initiated among them. If we can't, the political party can't do it, then what is the use of the government, running by our party? You have to understand this. You are here to control, you are here to rule, you are here to govern the state. So the major role is on the state and the state government, where the double engine government I'm talking about. But now at the moment, this double engine is without a will. They can't, run. Even if they are double engine, they may claim a double engine, but this double engine is useless in terms of controlling the situation.
Rami, I think, when Professor talks about double engine, lot of articles were published that the government should be seen acting, doing something. At least there has to be some motion. For example, after the disintegration of the peace committee, there has not been any second effort to make it, let's reconstitute it. Do you think that that's one of the reasons that the impression is that maybe that the center is just waiting and watching? Maybe that impression has gone, that, these people are not going to bend, they're not going to bend before the pressure. So there's a lack of political momentum, because ultimately, how much you criticize the politicians, you need them. You need politicians to have democracy. You cannot have democracy minus politicians.
No, absolutely, Karthikeya. Points you make are very substantial. But having said that, I personally have great faith in this government. I don't think all things that are being done behind the scenes are meant to be in front of the scenes. There's a lot, probably, like we can't say that there isn't any momentum. There's probably a lot happening behind the scenes. There's a lot of things that need to be clear, the gentleman who spoke previously also said that, this could be a larger design. Now, these sort of larger designs and what is being done about it, really is not evident to the public. So, for example, we saw how the Myanmar notice came out, which is a very substantial notice. I'm not saying that just because the Myanmarese government takes out a notice and says that, calls out the wrongdoings of the illegal migrants in Manipur is going to solve the situation on ground. But, it definitely is a piece of the jigsaw puzzle that is being put together on how such a serious situation on such an important state could escalate to this level. And I think those pieces are very, very important to put together. Now, for example, we've seen the Khalistan movement, media had its attention on it, and, it was in full throttle at one point and suddenly died down. Nobody talks about it. All the plugs were pulled. All the systems were put into place, and people behind it were identified, and action was taken. None of this happened, in public eye. All these functions happened behind the scenes, so as to say. And I have a feeling that that's what's happening, because this is even a more complex situation, because the state is far more complex. There are far many players because of its positioning and the geographical position that the state is in. And like somebody mentioned very correctly right now, this is always been a part of the Great Game East. We've spoken about the Great Game West. Our focus has always been on the northwestern frontier, but it's the northeastern frontier that, has always been far more complex and far more complicated to really bring to some sort of stable position. And therefore, I think that, of course, there is no taking away the responsibility that one vests in their elected representatives and the government. I don't know whether there's been an IB failure. I don't know if there hasn't been an IB failure and there's been a delay in action. I don't think any of us can determine this absolutely with full confidence, but either way, something has gone wrong. And I think in due course, those pieces of puzzle will fall into place. But yes, we discussed earlier, there needs to be a common party, common ground where all party representatives can come together and ask for one thing. Now, if you're not even being able to break into that dialogue, if you're not even, being able to come to a common understanding on that, that is when I feel that, everybody's lost a little bit of responsibility.